Good day to you, my lords and ladies. I'm the Lord Commander Pyrpk and welcome to my Titan Knight build video. Many people requested this and it was about time because I'm currently at 250, well almost that much momentum, and it was about time definitely. So let me go straight into it, and I will be starting from this skills section, of course. As you can see, my skills did not change, but a lot actually changed from my last Knight build. As you can see, I'm still using Ignite weapon and I'm having like on conflict and igniting strike on +4, and they're giving me pretty decent effects down here, as you can see. Well, not decent, pretty amazing. Then I'm also using Slashes Enhanced, as you can see as well, because Slashes Enhanced is so good that it's increasing your damage heavily. Trust me. So this is really useful if you are a knight. Now I'm using Boost Morale, and only change over here happened between Vitality and I think Boost Morale, I'm not sure, but I'm not using Vitality anymore, but I'm using Boost Morale Enhanced. I'm not sure if I used Enhanced, however, this is what I'm using now. So Advancement +2 to get some crit rate and damage, and then also Boost Morale Enhanced to decrease the defense of my enemies by 30%, and then also immediately gain Fighting Spirit. Fighting Spirit is really useful, and let me explain this to you guys, so we can also switch to basic skills. Now as you can see, Fighting Spirit, when your Fighting Spirit is active, for example you use Boost Morale Enhanced, your rage consumption decreases by 20%, which is amazing, and then also your active skill damage increases by 25%. So Boost Morale Enhanced is really useful, honestly. Now let me show you my strike combo build. Of course, since Knight is my main, I put every point into strike combo and I maxed it out. Then this is my strike combo 1 build, because I'm focusing on strike combo 1 mostly. And I'm using, for example, this Masonry build. So I'm using Spirit over here to increase strike combo damage, and then gain some Valor eventually to switch to Fighting Spirit. We all know what is Fighting Spirit, and with Valor you have to stack it up 6 times to switch into Fighting Spirit, so that's how it goes. Now on level 6 over here, you can see that I'm using Retribution, and this is when you are in the Fighting Spirit mode, and then you will gain like additionally 8 rage, I think, per hit, if I'm not wrong. So this is also really good to gain some additional rage, which is amazing. And then in the end I'm using Fervor, and this is where I get strike combo damage increased by 20%, but also additionally, if my target is burning, I get additional 20% damage. I mean, they are constantly burning since I'm using Ignite weapon, and as you can see, duration of Ignite weapon is like 20 seconds, so yeah. Now let's go to my trade tree, and over here a lot changed since my last video and my last Knight build. You all know that I was mostly focused on attacking trade tree and putting points into crit rate and crit damage, but I got to the point where I had to take those points out and put them into support tree, because I am currently capping the critical strike rate without having to use trade tree, and that's why I am actually able to put some points over here. Firstly, let me explain what are the most important things in the attacking trade tree that you have to watch out for. So basically, the most important thing over here is the attack power increase, and you have it 3 times over here. So basically, like to max it out as much as possible. Like, this is the main mission in your attacking trade tree. Then also, second main mission is to max out your damage increase against bosses. So this is also really important. Then what's important in the attacking trade tree are critical strike rate increase and critical strike damage increase. Now of course, if you cap the critical strike rate, you can take away those points and put them into critical strike damage. If you cap your critical strike damage, you can take away those points and put them into support tree. Of course, this is how it goes. Now of course, I am using those 2 out of 3 critical strike damage increases, because my critical strike damage is not capped yet, and it's definitely a long way to go. However, I had to take away some points because I had to create this build over here. Now let me explain why I did it like this, and it's pretty easy. I mean, over here I do need this node to increase my rage gain by 7.5%. Now if people say, yeah, there's also like nodes to increase your rage gain in attacking tree, yes there is, but over here this one actually increases by 1%, one level gives you 1%, and over here one level actually gives you 1.5%. So yeah, it makes a little bit more sense because you will profit a bit more. Then also this one is really important because when you unlock this node, and you will need 25 trade points for this, even though it says 20 to unlock it and plus 5 to use it. So when you unlock this one, your attack power will be increased by 12.5% for 10 seconds if you use any evasion, roll or quick dodge. And I'm constantly using it, so my attack power is constantly like increased by 12%, so that's also really cool. And then I had to go this far down here to decrease my rage consumption, because I also made a change. I switched from the broken sword to dark sister, and now my slashes cost much more, and that's why I need rage consumption to decrease my costs, and so I can use like slashes much easier. So that's it about my trade tree builds. Now let me go to my set research and show you also what I changed. As many people know, I used champion. I used to like use champion mostly as primary set, then I switched to brute and started using champion as secondary. But now I'm not using secondary champ anymore, I'm using savant. And the reason for that is that actually champ got a bit nerfed. Before season 3 your critical strike rate with champ could have been overcapped. Basically you could have used champ as secondary set and get additionally 15.6%, let's say, critical strike rate on your 60%. That would mean that you would have like 75% crit rate. Now unfortunately it's not the case, and you cannot go over cap if you are using the champion secondary set. Even though your attack power will be increased and your critical strike damage will be increased, it's not that much useful as savant, honestly. What savant does is it increases your attack power by about 15% if you are using active skill, then also increases your rage gain, and then for example you can increase your active skill damage by 12%, and also you will have like 20% chance to gain some rage and to reduce the cooldown of your active skills if you defeat an enemy. So that's what savant does, and savant is pretty good, honestly, so that's why I'm using also savant as secondary. Now I do want to show you my artifacts and to show you my switch now. Of course, I mean, I never switched access. Axes are like the best active legendary artifact, and I mean axes are like a must-have, so I wish all of you guys to get as many axes as possible because axes are so amazing and I hope they won't get nerfed. Now let me go to passive artifacts and let me explain it simply. Yeah, I am maining the Dark Sister, and this is the best passive artifact for knights in this game, like by far. Of course, I tested the Broken Sword build versus the Dark Sister build, even though my Dark Sister is R1 and the Broken Sword is R5. And Dark Sister literally like smashed the Broken Sword. Broken Sword is really amazing artifact, but unfortunately it lost its light with Season 3 and now it's only useful mostly for Wormwalks and maybe for some assassin builds. But if you are a knight, definitely I will recommend you to use the Dark Sister, because with Dark Sister you can go over cap, over critical rate cap. You can add some additional critical strike rate on your 60% cap. So let's say I do have 60% cap now, and plus this 22% crit rate against burnt targets, I do get 82% critical strike rate thanks to Dark Sister, which is really amazing. So yeah, that's the main reason why I switched to Dark Sister, because I crit more and also damage is heavily increased against burnt targets, and I do get some critical strike damage as well from it. Okay, now definitely I do want to show you my equipment and stuff. And as you can see, I do have like all 3 amulets and they are all good. But since my build is mostly like combo, strike combo build, I am going with this grasp amulet, because this is strike combo damage increase amulet. I do have some decent random effects on it against dazed targets, for example. When kraken is dazed, I do get like additionally 20% damage on it. And then also, like with every attack, my critical strike rate is being increased and I do additional damage against bosses, which is also really cool. So this is my amulet that I'm currently going with. I crafted a lot, but this one was the best so far. Now as for my jewelry, yeah, you can see that actually my rings changed and my necklace got level up and changed, I think. So this is my sunstone necklace that is giving me like basically from its base 4% crit rate, but those random effects are really amazing. I mean, only this active skill cooldown decrease rate is not so good, but however the other 3 effects are pretty good. and that's what I'm going with currently. It's the best one so far that I have. Now as for my earrings, I still use the Topaz for critical strike damage increase and the Sunstone for critical strike rate increase. And as for rings, I do have this like really amazing ring, Sapphire ring, that is mostly for range attack damage increase, but if you look at those substats, they are too much amazing. So this is what I'm going with, and my Topaz ring as well, because it increases my crit rate, attack power and some crit damage. So yeah, those are my rings. And as for my equipment, yeah, we are in tier 6, tier 7 has been announced, and I'm only using tier 6 crossbow. It's a bit painful, however, this crossbow is so good, it's amazing. You can see I'm getting a lot of attack power from it, like base 528 and then also additionally 2 times, once 210 attack power and once 240 attack power from it. So this is really great. I do have also tier 6 sword that is giving me way much more attack power than this tier 5, and trust me, it also increases active skill damage. This would be so good on my assassin, however, this is not so useful on my knight unfortunately, because igniting strike, even with less attack power on the sword, is much better than this tier 6 sword. That's why I'm using tier 5. Now as for my defensive equipment, I'm using this epic tier 5 helmet that has boost moral enhanced on it. Then I'm using this leggy chestplate, which I got lucky with to have +2 advancement. And then as for gloves, I do have this legendary 5 and 6 tier glove, but I'm using the blue one that has slashes on it. And trust me, even if tier 10 came out, I would still be using this blue tier 5 glove because it has slashes on it. So yeah, that's how good slashes enhanced is. Now as for my boots, I'm using tier 5 leggy boots where I got so lucky that I like have armed conflict +4 on it. And this is pretty amazing. So that'll be it from my build. Let me show you quickly my stats. And these are my stats now without buffs. I mean, only Alien's buff is running in the background, we do have to mention it. So like almost 14k attack power, and this is my crit rate and crit damage. Now I do use like buffs constantly. I literally never play without buffs. Of course, my favorite Guts 7 buff is mostly the reach buff, even though other two are also pretty good. I'm using currently this one to increase my attack power, but also crit rate, because I do want to like reach the cap, to reach 60% crit rate. Now also I do want to drink my sharpness concoction, because this one is also increasing my crit rate by 8% and attack power by 10. And this way, if you look at my stats, I do hit the cap 60%, which is amazing. My crit damage stays the same, but I do get a lot of crit damage from many other things. And this is the attack power 14.7k, which is fine. Now let me show you this in a real fight, and we are gonna fight the unicorn and the kraken. Of course, I won't bother you with commentary, so let's go. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, have fun and goodbye.